Hey dude, check it out. That, my friend, is the solution to having multiple people working with a single document and having them not walk over each other. Let's begin. Houston, we have a problem, and I think a story would best illustrate the problem that can exist when multiple people try to share and work with a file. Let's say that you and me and Bob are all working on a project and we're updating and working with a file. Let's call that file X. In many environments, we'd simply place that file in a shared folder that's reachable on the network. So the three of us are sitting on the network. And as we just access that as we need to update it, there is the possibility that two people could try to open that at once, and that may cause some confusion. But it even gets worse when Bob, and that's his computer right here, Bob decides, you know what, I'm going to Argentina for a week. I need to take that file with me and modify it. So he copies it over to his mobile device or to his laptop, and he takes his computer out of the country. So now Bob, with his laptop, has that file, is making changes. When he comes back to the company, he's very likely going to want to go ahead and put that file back, which would be okay if Bob was the only one modifying the file. But if you or me had also made changes to this file while it was sitting on the file share, then when Bob places that file back, he's going to overwrite our changes. This, my friend, is a real problem about making sure we have data integrity and that we don't have two people attempting to update a document and not knowing exactly what state that file's in. Does it have the latest changes from Bob or you or me? And the solution that SharePoint provides in a document library is the ability to check in and check out files. So in this nugget, I want to chat with you about three basic things. Number one, what we just did, why it matters, to make sure we have data integrity for a file and we know exactly that not two people are attempting erroneously to update it at the same time or erase other people's work. The second thing we're going to cover is how to enable that feature in the settings of a document library. And third, I'll walk you through how to go ahead and start using that feature. And we'll do the demonstration in our hands-on lab environment. So not only can you watch it, but you can also log into the hands-on lab and practice it yourself. To begin, we'll log on to the Windows 10 machine and we'll log on as Bob, as we've done previously throughout this lab series. So we'll go ahead and log in as Bob. Then on this Windows 10 machine, logged on as Bob, we'll go ahead and open up Chrome by using the icon in the taskbar. We'll open the browser to srv1.nuglab.com and we'll log on as administrator with our lab password of capital NUGGET exclamation mark 23 and press enter. And we'll log in. In our previous nuggets, we've done some work on the engineering site and specifically using their documents library there. So let's go to the engineering site. We can do it from the top level navigation links or over here on the left, we have in the quick launch area, one for engineering. So we'll go to the engineering site. And over here on the left-hand side on the engineering site, we have a quick launch link for the engineering document library. So we'll select that as well. So to enable the feature of the checking in and checking out of documents, we'd want to go to the settings of this library. Now, in a previous nugget, we have gone to the settings of a library before. And my question is, do you remember how to get to the settings area for this document library? Think about that for a moment. Where would we go? And if you said, Keith, we would, on the library tab in the upper left-hand corner, we'd click on the library tab for this library. And then over on the far right-hand side of this tab, we have an icon for library settings, and we click that. If that's what you thought, good job, because that's exactly what you and I are going to do right now. We're going to click on library settings. And the location that we're going to go to in the settings area specifically is the versioning settings. And that's where we'd enable the checking in and checking out of documents for this library. So together, we'll click on versioning settings under general settings over here in this first column. We've seen this area before when we took a look at versioning control, and we're going to scroll all the way down on this page. And near the very bottom, we have this option to require checkout. So if we select this radio button saying yes, it's requiring the document to be both checked in initially when it's put into the document library, and it also allows the user to check out that document. And here's the benefit of checking out a document. Going back to our story earlier of you and I and Bob with the single document that we're working on, before Bob goes to Argentina, in SharePoint, he can check out that document and then take it with him. He can copy it locally, work with it. And while it's checked out, you or I are not able to go ahead and make any changes to that checked out document in SharePoint. And then when Bob returns, he can go ahead and upload his new copy, the updated version of that file into SharePoint and mark it as checked in. And at that point, you or I could go ahead and take a look at that document and we could check it out and we could do further editing on it. So the checking in and checking out acts like a traffic cop to make sure that we don't have more than one person actively working on changing a file at any given time. So let's go ahead and enable that feature, the required checkout feature for this document library, by selecting the radio button next to yes, and we'll click on OK. So now that that feature is enabled for this document library, let's go ahead and then use the quick launch and go back to the document library itself. Let's minimize this browser just for a moment, and let's create a new document on our local Windows 10 desktop, because I want to demonstrate checking it in as well when we upload a new file. So I'm going to take our existing document that we used in a previous nugget, and let's add a fourth line. And we'll type in this is a fourth line. That'll work. And then we'll save it as another document name. File, save as, and let's go ahead and call this doc2. And click on save, and then we can go ahead and close that. And just to confirm, that is right here on our desktop. So let's go ahead and upload that into this document library for engineering. So we'll go back to our browser, and we can use the upload option. We could also drag and drop a file here, assuming the environment was all set up to allow that to work. So for the lab, I'm going to use the upload button. We'll click on upload. We'll click on choose files. Here on our desktop, we'll go ahead and select doc2, click on open, and then click on OK, and that will upload doc2 into this document library. Now notice what happened here. Here we have doc2, and it has this little icon right here in the bottom right hand corner that indicates this document is currently checked out. So when any new documents go in to this document library, if the user who uploaded this document wants the ability for other SharePoint users that have access to this document library to be able to change that document, that same user needs to check it in, which then allows other people, if they want to, who have access to this document library, to check it out. And there's multiple ways of checking in or checking out a file. We could right-click on the actual document name, and then from the drop-down select Advanced, and then from the subsequent drop-down there's an option called Check-in. That is one way of doing it, or we could go ahead and click on the ellipsis next to Document 2, and we could click on the ellipsis from that pop-up, and then go to Advanced, and from there, go ahead and select Check-in. Or with Document 2 selected with a check mark next to it, we can go up here to the More menu. From the drop-down, go to Advanced, and go to Check-in. And it really doesn't matter which way you do it. All those features are going to allow us to check in that document. And one other thing I'd like to share with you real quick before we check this document in is how do we know who the document is currently checked out to? Well, one way of doing that is to simply hover over this little checked out symbol next to the icon for the file. And that should give us an indication of exactly who it's checked out to. So there by hovering it says checked out to system account, and that's because that's who we're currently logged on as. Later in the course, when we set up users like Bob and Lois and we set up the permissions for those users, as they check in and check out documents, their names can be associated with those documents respectively. But I also want to remind you about something we did with views inside of SharePoint. Check this out. In a previous nugget on working with views, we created a view called Our New View. And one of the columns that we added as part of this new view was the column for checked out to identify who's checked out a document. So if we simply click on this new view called Our New View, there's the new column that we added as part of that view. It's also showing us who the document is currently checked out to, which is the system account at the moment. So let's go ahead and check the document in. Since we're right here, we'll right click on it, go to Advanced, and then simply from the submenu, click on Check In. And then simply click on OK. And now we can see that document 2 is no longer checked out. The icon in the bottom right hand corner is no longer there. And in the checked out to column, it's blank because the document is not checked out at the moment. So in this nugget, we've done 3 basic things. Number 1, we've identified a problem of working with a single file with multiple people and the solution of how checking it in and checking it out matters in making sure that we don't have a fight for who has the latest and greatest version of a document. We can control that by checking it in, checking it out. We identified how do we enable the feature as a setting of the document library. And then third, we looked at using the feature of checking in and checking out. So now that we've done this together in the nugget, it is now your turn in the hands-on lab environment. The link is over to the right if you're logged on to your CBT Nuggets account from a computer. And I'd like you to log in and practice enabling the feature and checking in and checking out a document and have some fun doing it. Meanwhile, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.